Hi, this is Selena. Welcome to my Folio 1 video. Let's get started. Week 1, Observation. In response to this week's theme, I went out of the campus to observe and try to think about the city landscape. I noticed the traffic flow in the city and explored it divergently. After tried various perspectives of observation of the road conditions, and I recorded the transition state between the traffic flow and the stop. Use the recorded traffic flow to conduct an associative animated experiment through the perceptions formed in daily life. I made my lunch as the vehicles to simulate the flow state I observed, allowing the viewer to accurately identify the events simulated by my project. A traffic clogged, without any superficial or causal associations. The works of Air Murataisha have a similar concept. His animations show the transformation that can take place between things of the same abstract nature behind unrelated practicality. Week 2, Tinkering. For tinkering topic this week, I just painted randomly with paint. Try to use water and paint in a completely unconventional way. I didn't deliberately intervene in the development of the painting, just using the airflow to guide the color. Then I tried various methods, such as dipping the paint differently, exhaling at different angles and strengths. The act of blowing through a straw reminds me of another interesting thing. I tried blowing soap bubbles through a straw during childhood, so I decided to record the movements of airflow and bubbles. And paint pouring has the same technique, being able to direct different textures from a random flow of liquid. Week 3, Found Object. This week's topic about found objects made me re-examine everything around me. Everything common in everyday life contains unlimited potential. So I decided to start with the simplest structure. The sticks are the first processed tools I can think of. The pair of sticks reminded me of chopsticks, which were the first to be used in conjunction with eating. There are many different ways of using chopsticks that can be branched out with the action of picking them up. Tweezers, scissors, or something else incorporated together. When the sticks are separated and need to be used with both hands, they are extended to include drumsticks for percussion instruments, needles for wrapping wool, stilts for feet, etc. This is the opportunity for me to create this little animation. And the Blue M&M's animation also uses simple kitchen utensils as musical instruments to play songs. It's a way to make things function, as they were meant to and achieve a completely different purpose. Week 4, Discussions of Place. This week's theme reminded me of something I've read before in a novel, where the description of the place goes deep into my heart. The descriptions of the scenery here all point to the dark truth of the town, and the protagonist's antipathy towards its inhabitants. The author combines the weird theme of the novel and replaces the protagonist's feeling of real conspiracy with the sense of the place. It can be seen that the description of the environment can provide a substantial picture of the story content, enrich the details behind the scenes. The details that make up the place are as important as the content of the story. In conjunction with this week's theme, I connected the inverted scenes to tell the backstory. The view I took from outside the skyscraper late at night was overlaid with the interior map scene to get a completely new narrative scene. The focus is on creating a profound feeling of depth sea and the cityscape under the night sky, which have the same sense of unity and tranquility. Using recordings from a visit to the aquarium, I explored a range of scene details and modeled them in Blender. During the rendering process, I used the urban nightscape to create an HDRI, as an inversion of the underwater scene. The details of the subject, and the sense of underwater ambience, were emphasized in post-compositing, combined with the landscape of the urban skyline in the background. thus developing the narrative behind the scenes. Week 5. Object-Oriented Ontology. In order to respond to this week's theme, I set out to think about how objects interact, or make connections on their own, after they have lost their instrumental nature. In the absence of human interference, objects can exist as independent individuals. The essence of their existence is to interact with the surrounding environment, or other objects with themselves as the center, thus creating new conversations. As I saw a child get off a swing, and being held by his parents' hands, he swung a bit using the parent's arm as support. The frequency of the swing seat being thrown behind by the child is surprisingly consistent with the amplitude of the child's swing. I took this opportunity to separate the element of play from the interaction between family members and placed it in a playful scene. With the human access stripped away, the amplitude of the swing, swaying in the wind, is the playfulness and enjoyment of itself as a thing in its own right. I created a looping animation with this feedback. The swing plank is no longer seen as a tool for a child to play with, but rather as a playful child swinging between the two trees that are its parents. The two trees return to their identity as natural protections, using two branches as arms to hold their child's swing. The animated short film, Father, has the same narrative purpose. After abandoning the role of being worn, clothes return to their own identity, providing familial personification for contact and catharsis of emotions. I've gained a lot of inspiring ideas from Folio 1, and I have been able to make use of things around me, were once so commonplace that I used to ignore. It is difficult to break through the constraints of common sense, and think divergently even with familiar things. I no longer underestimate every ordinary idea, but record every moment of inspiration. They are likely to become the starting point for my future work. At the same time, my animation skills have grown tremendously, and I can summarize various simple dynamics, and learn other compositing software to refine my drafts. Now I have accumulated various sparks of inspiration and working skills from different things, and I believe they will shine in the future. Thanks for watching my video. See you in Folio 2.